Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. Today we're going to make chicken and vegetable soup. I actually named this Pantry chicken and vegetable soup. Why Pantry? Because everything we have in-house. The carrots, the celery, and the onions together and stuck those in vacuum seal bags, stuck them in the freezer. Had some potatoes that I had canned in December of 2021 in a vegetable stock, so we're using that as potatoes. We had some frozen peas and corn that we added in here. So last night we actually cooked 2 whole chickens in the Instant Pot, and I am going to rewind the clock and send you back there. And once that's done, bring you back to the present time, and then we'll start making this soup. Apron's on. Let's get started. Sorry the lighting is a little off. I just got off work. It's 10 o'clock at night, but I do want to go ahead and get these chickens in the crock pot. So I have 2 of these chickens. They weigh about 4.5 pounds apiece. So we're going to go ahead and remove the packing, take out the neck and everything that they have inside, and we're going to go ahead and get it in the crock pot. So please join me while we do that. I am going to rinse them off just a little bit. Rinsing them off with cold water. I'm going to add 2 cups of water to the crock pot. We're going to put it on low. We're going to do it for 8 hours. We're going to add some salt. Going to add some pepper. We're going to add a couple bay leaves. Total of 3. We're going to add some garlic powder. Some onion powder. Some Italian seasoning. I don't think my lid's going to fit. Yeah, I think it will. So I have the 2 chickens in there. They were about 4.5 pounds. Got it on low, and we're going to let it cook overnight for 8 hours. After that time, it will automatically go to warm. And tomorrow we're going to go ahead and shred this up. So y'all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow with some cooked chicken. Morning, friends. You saw last night that we put the chicken in the crock pot, and I had it set for 8 hours. I woke up when it still had about 45 minutes to it, and I noticed that when I took the temperature that it wasn't reading nowhere near 165 degrees where chicken has to be done. So I went ahead and extended it for 2 hours, and once that was over, it goes over to warm. So it did cook for 10 hours. So we're going to get ready and take it out of the crock pot, and we're going to go ahead and start shredding it up. We're going to do this ever so easy, so because it's going to fall completely off the bones. And this is exactly what we want, just to fall off the bones. Makes shredding so much easier. And that is some beautiful chicken stock that we're going to use today when we make our soup. Now, as for the chicken, we're going to move it back to the island and we're going to go ahead and debone all that. So let me tell you about the inspiration to have already cooked chicken deboned and in the freezer. Video when I did the barbecue pork, when I pressure canned it, I'll put that video right here and you'll be able to see that. But I was trying to figure out what we were going to have for dinner that night, and I was like, all right, give me 30 minutes, let me think about it. So I grabbed the big stock pot right there, put it on the stove, and I literally looked at it for about 10 minutes. And I remember that I had onions, celery, carrots, peas, corn, green beans in the freezer all ready to go. So I threw that in the pot, and I had some chicken left over from the week before when I cooked a whole chicken. And I threw that in there, and I threw in a jar of canned potatoes in there, and I made a delicious soup. But I also had some turkey in my freezer, deboned turkey meat from Christmas. When I cooked a turkey for Christmas, I had some extra turkey, so I deboned it, put it in a freezer bag, stuck it in the freezer, and I remember I had that also. So I decided to add the chicken from the week before, the turkey from the freezer, all those vegetables I just mentioned into a stock pot with some chicken stock and the potatoes. It was delicious. It was a quick meal. It came together in less than 30 minutes. So when I sit there and think about it, I was like, I need to do this more often. So I decided to go ahead and cook 2 whole chickens so I can have meat in bags in the freezer for a quick, easy soup recipe. So that was the inspiration of this video, of having chicken ready to go in the freezer. So we're not going to throw the bones away, because the bones we're going to save with all the vegetable scraps that we've saved so far, put in the freezer, and we're going to use that when we need to make more chicken stock. Do not throw your bones away, whether you're getting a chicken at Walmart, Food Lion, Costco, Sam's Club. When you buy those already cooked rotisserie chickens, don't throw the bones away. Put it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in your freezer, and when you get 2 or 3 of those bones from chickens, just have your vegetable scraps, such as your carrot peelings, your celery ends, the peelings from garlic and onions. When you have enough of those stuff in your freezer, you've got free chicken stock. No, you don't have to can it. You can put them in Ziploc bags and lay it flat on a cookie sheet and stick it in the freezer till it gets frozen. Then you can manipulate your freezer to where it will fit those bags. Put them in quart size. You can put them in gallon size. Whatever type of, the amount of sauce that you use. Do not throw your bones and your scraps away. It's free stock. It just takes the time and energy to put everything in a stock pot, cook it on the stove for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, add some aromatics in it, such as salt and pepper, bay leaves, whatever kind of herbs you like, and it's free stock. Stop throwing your bones and your vegetable scraps away. That's what we're going to do with this chicken bone. We're just going to stick it in the freezer, and we're just going to wait till we have enough bones, enough vegetable scraps, and then we're going to make a chicken stock with it. But in the meantime, let's get this chicken deboned. We have our chicken. Always start with a towel underneath your cutting board. Keeps it from slipping around. I think you're a little cricket. Let me fix you. I think that's better. And then I have a bone over here where we're going to be putting all of our meat in, and we're just going to leave the bones in this one. So whenever you see meat and bones, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a bone. It's going to go back in here, and the meat's going to go over here. It's just going to shred so easy. I might not even need a cutting board. So let's just go ahead and get started. Take as much as the skin off, because we'll use that for flavor for our stock. Here we go. We have a leg right here. And it's just literally falling off the bone. Look at that. Just came off that bone so easily. I save my wing ends also for the stock. I believe how well this thing just fell completely apart. Look at that. That is a whole breast right there. Look at that. The bones are just falling completely apart. It's a little warm, but it's okay. If it's too hot for you, you can use a knife. And this bowl is mostly just the bones and the backbones and stuff. We're just going to pick through it to make sure we get all the meat off of it. The bay leaf, we will not throw that away. We will actually save that bay leaf and just add it into their new stock. Alright, that is all bones. I've got a freezer bag right here. We're just going to put all these bones in here. And skin, all of the good stuff. So we'll make a very, very flavorful chicken stock. And in the freezer, this will go. So in this bowl right here, I just rinsed it out. This is what the chicken went into right after I took it out of the crock pot. But then I have a little strainer right here. We're going to strain the juices from where we cooked the chicken. So this is the crock pot insert. We're going to strain it. Get all the bits and pieces out. Seeing more chicken in here too. I'm not going to waste this bit in here either. We're going to add that to our freezer bag. We have some chicken stock that we can start our soup in and just add to it as we need it. We'll set this aside till we're ready to make soup. So the goal is to be able to use 1/4 of this in today's soup and divide the other 3 for future soups. So I think that would be enough for today. Let's see if I can get 3 out of here. Of quart size Ziploc bags. And we'll see if I can get 3 more portions out of here. I'm not worried about them being equally distributed. If one soup has more chicken than the other, it's okay. You know, I think I'm going to change my mind and just do 2 bags. That way we can have more chicken in 2 bags for 2 soups versus less chicken in 3 soups. Zip-locking it, trying to get as much of the air as possible. So out of 2 chickens, the gallon size freezer bag, and I am going to date it. Alright, so I just came back shopping. Not your typical shopping. I actually have a pantry in my house that I keep fully stocked for easy, quick, last minute meals, as well as when I'm planning meals. So I went shopping in my pantry and my freezer. So I've got a pack of peas, frozen carrots, frozen corn, my last bit of celery, frozen onions. I went ahead and grabbed another quart of chicken stock, a quart of seasoned potatoes, and grab some better than bouillon. And then I have my powdered chicken broth. If you're curious about that, I actually get it from Azure Standard. That's how I shop. I have a couple of these in my pantry, and when I need to go shopping, I just fill it up from my pantry. Ingredients, it's going to make a delicious soup. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the stove, and we're going to start cooking this soup. Alright, so I moved the chicken stock that we got from cooking the chicken. But as you can see, there's a fat line right there. We're not going to waste that. We're going to actually use that as the fat to start sauteing your vegetables. So we're going to turn our stove on. Vegetables are still a little frozen, but that's okay. We can work with that. So I'm just going to skim off some of that chicken fat. Instead of adding additional oils to our soup, we're just going to use the chicken fat to saute our vegetables. Another little hint today. If you do home canning and you don't have one of those special lid openers, if you start off with the widest point from where the screw part starts to the lid, not the shallow end like right over here, but as it comes down to that widest point, you just take a bottle opener. See if I can get you a better view. Put it on that widest point right here. Put it on there. And you just tilt it like this until it pops off. Alright, so we got all our vegetables open. We're going to add that to the chicken fat. This is just the onions, celery, and the carrots. going to take a minute for it to thaw out. So we're just going to let it do its thing, and the chicken fat in there. I have it on medium heat. Let's check on the carrots, celery, and onions. I can break them apart. We're going to leave the lid off. I do want to sweat out some of the water that's in here, because frozen vegetables do tend to render a little bit more water than fresh vegetables, but that's okay. It's called Pantry chicken vegetable soup. We're using Pantry items. All the water that's in here, but we want to render some of that out. We're just going to leave the lid off and let it steam up just a bit. While I have you hanging out with me, I have, can't really see it, but it's my sea salt. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill up my jar here. And if you're curious, 5 pounds of salt will fit in a gallon-sized glass jar. But don't worry, I got another 10 pounds in the back. Salt, pepper, different spices and herbs make good meals, great meals. If you don't take any advice from me whatsoever, please take the advice of stock up on spices and seasonings. I'm going to add the chicken broth powder. Now, if you don't have that, you can use better than bouillon. I have this as a backup in case I need a little bit more flavor to it. But the last time I didn't use it. But just so you know, if you don't have this, you can always use something like this, or even a powdered bouillon you get at the store. So we'll sprinkle 3 tablespoons of that in there. I'm going to pour the broth from my potatoes in there. Add the chicken stock that we used, that we got when we cooked our chicken. That does have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and the flavor of a bay leaf. I'm going to add a quart of home chicken stock. Again, find the widest point from the threads to the lid. Using any kind of bottle opener, can opener, and just give it a twist. Go ahead and add my frozen vegetables. We'll put some basil. Maybe a half of a teaspoon. Some oregano. About a half of a teaspoon. Going to add our cooked chicken. Since the potatoes are already cooked, we're not going to add those yet. We're going to let that simmer, and then we're going to taste it. Is any salt or pepper or any other kind of spice or herbs. So we're just going to let that cook for about 10-15 minutes, get everything heated, warmed up, and then we'll taste it. Putting the lid on, leave a little vent, and I'm going to go ahead and wash dishes and get that out of the way. Tell you it needs salt and pepper. Spot on, delicious. We're going to let that continue to cook a little bit before we add the potatoes. Soup is boiling. So I have this A2 milk powder. 2 tablespoons in here. Just going to add a little bit of water just to hydrate that milk powder. not even probably 2 tablespoons of water just to hydrate it. Add in our soup. It's just going to add an element of creaminess to it. We'll turn this down to a medium-low because I don't want it to. I have a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and I'm just going to grate that straight in there. I'm just going to use a knife because I am going to bust my knuckles. Got a little paring knife right here. It will melt in there, doesn't matter about the size. Some big chunks, some little pieces. We're just going to dump that all in the soup. Now we're going to add our herbed potatoes. And that's what's for dinner. Pantry chicken vegetable soup. Want to get closer and see it? Look at that. Everything we had in the pantry and freezer. And the chicken we cooked last night in the crock pot. Let's go ahead and scoop up a bowl. Some potatoes and chicken and all those beautiful vegetables and that broth. Look at that. It's gorgeous. So our pantry chicken and vegetable soup is done. We're having a bowl. Serve this with a grilled cheese sandwich or some toast or even some crackers would be really good. So we used the stock that we got from cooking the 2 whole chickens. 1/3 of that chicken went into this soup. Then we divided the other 2/3 into Ziploc bags, stuck those in the freezer. We saved our bones from those 2 chickens, put that in a Ziploc bag, stuck it in the freezer for chicken stock. The other chicken meat we are going to make other recipes for. I'll bring you along with those as we pull them out of the freezer. Don't worry, you can use it for like fettuccine alfredo, chicken and gravy with biscuits, or just more soup. Whatever you want to do with it. We have ready to go chicken in our freezer. All of our vegetables we had in the freezer. We had some chopped onions, celery, and carrots in Ziploc bags or vacuum seal bags in the freezer. Pull those out, saute that. And we had some peas and corn. You can use green beans, any kind of vegetables you like. If you want to put a leafy in it, such as kale or spinach, it would probably be just as delicious, if not better. Salt and pepper to taste. So if you find anything in this video of any value to you, please hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Leave us a comment if you actually make this soup, or if you have a favorite soup recipe, or you do subscribe, because we would love to have you part of the Grammy family. There's always room at the kitchen table for more. So thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful day.